this withdrawal of aid by Donald Trump from countries other than the US is a big deal, especially for African countries who are so dependent on the US, especially for their developmental programs and also, especially their health sector. It's a big blow. In Malawi, we have actually seen just how great the impact has been, and I think it's going to get worse over the next 3 months because this withdrawal is going to be for 3 months at least. Before actually after their reviews and after they decide what they're going to do and what programs are they going to continue to fund and what are they going to cut off completely. So man, we're in for a hell of a ride, and I want us to discuss that. I want us to look at from what the U.S. planned from the beginning, and then I want us to look at President Kenyatta's response to this, and I want us to look at just how great the impact will be by looking at how much of the budgets in different African countries, including Malawi, will be affected. So I want you to stay tuned in, but before we do that, subscribe and comment in the comment section below. Let's dive into this together. Now, to begin with, I want us to listen to the first press conference that the press secretary Caroline Levitt, I think, did at the White House. I think a few 2 days ago. I want us to look at this because she reveals some of the things that I think most people should know, but most people are pretending that they don't know. So I want us to look at it together. Let's watch this.
Caroline, sure. How long is this pause going to last, and how is the Trump administration recommending that organizations that rely on federal funding make payroll, pay their rent in the meantime?
It is a temporary pause, and the Office of Management and Budget is reviewing the federal funding that has been going out the door. Again, not for individual assistance, but for all of these other programs that I mentioned. I also spoke with the incoming director of OMB this morning, and he told me to tell all of you that the line to his office is open for other federal government agencies across the board, and if they feel that programs are necessary and in line with the president's agenda, then the Office of Management and Budget will review those policies. I think this is a very responsible measure. Again, the past 4 years, we've seen the Biden administration spend money like drunken sailors. It's a big reason we've had an inflation crisis in this country, and it's incumbent upon this administration to make sure, again, that every penny is being accounted for honestly.
Why impose this pause with so little notice? Why not give organizations more time to plan for the fact that they are about to lose, in some cases, really crucial federal funding, at least for a period of time?
There was notice. It was the executive order that the president signed. There's also a freeze on hiring, as you know, a regulatory freeze, and there's also a freeze on foreign aid. And this is, again, incredibly important to ensure that this administration is taking into consideration how hard the American people are working.
Now, I think there was something that was insinuated in the question there that was not accurate. I think the person who was asking the journalist was saying, why was there so little notice? But to be honest, Trump ran all these things. I think all of last year, he kept on hammering on these things that the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to freeze aid, because he wanted to analyze the efficiency of the federal government. He wanted to see how the funds are being run. One of the greatest weaknesses of the Biden administration was, I think they were just spending on useless things. They were spending on woke agendas, things like LGBTQ, these transgender causes. They were spending on wars that the U.S. was not supposed to be spending on. I think so. Trump was like, that's my first order of business. I want to make sure I cut off government spending. Hence the establishment of the Department of Government Efficiency run by Elon Musk. And so when people say that, I think this was so sudden, it was not really. This was something he ran on. He said it time and time again. It was something he hammered from the beginning of his campaign. And so if organizations were not paying attention, if people weren't paying attention, if people thought he was bluffing, then that is on them, not really on Trump. And what you have to understand is that I think all of us knew, it was obvious that Trump was going to win. Okay. And so some organizations, I can see actually so many NGOs in Malawi and even across Africa, their funding has been cut off, and some people are actually starting to get laid off from their work. I think they could have maybe foreseen this and they could have applied for aid, maybe running for 3 months or so, just to make sure that this period is something that they can brace for. But most of them never had that foresight. And so what is happening is they're laying off people, and it'll be very difficult to recall those people because sometimes they would have been employed already by other organizations after that. So I think we just have to learn to have more foresight and not really say that maybe there was no prior warning or maybe no enough time to do this. There was enough time, and maybe people thought he was bluffing, but he wasn't. And this is what we're seeing right here. So let's continue to listen to this.
Their tax dollars actually matter to this administration. Just during this pause, Doge and OMB have actually found that there was $37 million that was about to go out the door to the World Health Organization, which is an organization, as you all know, that President Trump, with the swipe of his pen in that executive order, is no longer wants the United States to be a part of. So that wouldn't be in line with the president's agenda. Doge and OMB also found that there was about to be 50 million taxpayer dollars that went out the door to fund condoms in Gaza. That is a preposterous waste of taxpayer money. So that's what this pause is focused on, being good stewards of tax dollars.
So now you can actually see Trump is literally fulfilling every campaign promise that he actually made. Okay? And he's literally doing the things that he said he would do on day one. And so what you see here is not really something that is sudden. He literally said these things, if you follow them, so many times. And imagine how the Biden administration was spending the money. Come on, why are we going to fund condoms in Gaza? For what? And that is $50 million from the US government. And so seeing all those things, he says, no, we need to analyze everything. And we'll need a space of 3 months to do that. And then after 3 months, we'll see what programs to keep and what to cut off totally. And so we're just hoping that so many people who are employed in so many NGOs, they don't lose their jobs, because I know people's livelihood depend on this thing. So I also want us to look at President Kenyatta's response to this. I want us to just go there right now. Let's listen to this.
We're back here in Africa, where former Kenyan President Uhuru Kenyatta has criticized African leaders for lamenting U.S. President Donald Trump's decision to freeze foreign aid, including the president's emergency plan for AIDS relief. Speaking at the East Africa Region Global Health Security Summit in Mombasa, Kenyatta urged leaders to shift from dependency and instead focus on self-sufficiency. He questioned why African nations should expect U.S. support when they do not contribute to its tax system.
I saw some people the other day crying, oh, I don't know, Trump has removed money. He said he's not giving us any more money. Watu wanalia. Why are you crying? It's not your government, it's not your country. He has no reason to give you anything. I mean, you don't pay taxes in America. He is appealing to his people. Shauri yenu bana. This is a wake-up call for you to say, okay, what are we going to do to help ourselves? Instead of crying, tujiulize, what are we going to do? Haya, ametoa hiyo pesa, sasa tutafanya namna gani jameni? What are we going to do? To support ourselves. Because nobody is going to continue holding out a hand there to give you. It is time for us to use our resources for the right things. We are the ones who are using them for the wrong things.
Yeah, I think that's a very good perspective to have. And actually, what you have to understand is there's been some presidents who have had this mindset for some time. We talk of Magufuli, we talk of so many presidents in Africa. Even Kagame has been hammering on this for some time. I know he is a controversial figure, but yeah, so you can actually say that this is the right mindset to have. But I know executing it is not an easy. It's not an easy task. I'm telling you right now. We may say it actually sounds nice to say, we need to be independent and all that. My God, for us to actually move from there to where we need to be, where we're so independent. Number one, it will be the same big countries that will be barriers for that happening. We actually saw with Libya when they were trying to make Africa do that, how the US and other big countries, how they reacted to it. Okay, and so on. Number two, I think it will take years of pain before we actually successfully emerge on the other side of such thinking. It's a good way to think. It's the approach that we need to have. It's what we need to start doing. But I'm telling you, Africans are people who like comfort. I know we are strong. I know I've been through some hard times, but because we've tested a little bit of something that the West is experiencing, what has happened to us is that we are lacking that resilience most of the times. And so we are not willing to pass through some hardship so that we can get to where we need to get, an area of independence as countries in this beautiful continent. If we can only brace ourselves for years of hardship before we actually go on the other side, then we can actually manage to do it. Okay, that's what I think. I want to hear your opinions in the comment section below. But this is the type of thinking. Actually, what has happened right now has just exposed how dependent we are on the West. We are so dependent, it's laughable. I'm telling you right now. And the funny thing is, presidents in other countries in Africa are responding to this news. But our president, Dr. Lazarus Chakwera, is so silent. Like he has, as if it's not affecting his citizens. I don't know what is going on, man. Like, yeah, we need to be more proactive. So I like that. What President Kenyatta has said. Now, I want you to see just how dependent our African countries are. I want you to see the budgets. Okay, so he says the table below provides a stark visualization of the magnitude of aid that has been cut, revealing the sectors most vulnerable to this sudden withdrawal. Now, a country like Tanzania relies on 933 million US dollars annual US aid. Okay, that is sectors like health, agriculture, governance, and infrastructure. Okay. And you talk of Kenya is 1 billion, okay, US dollar. This is not their local currencies. This is the dollar. Uganda is 950 million US dollars. Rwanda 200 million US dollars. Rwanda is actually small. Burundi is 80 million US dollars. Sudan is actually 1 billion US dollars. So that's a lot of money that is actually going to African countries that is now being frozen. And what are they going to do? Let's see how innovative our leaders are. Now, for Malawi, I want to show you this. For Malawi, says Malawi faces, this was an article by The Times written by Benedette Chuandamia. It says that Malawi faces potential losses of up to 110 million US dollars, which is 192 billion in kwacha in annual average development support following the United States President Trump's decision to temporarily suspend offering aid for 90 days. Okay, it says Malawi has enjoyed development support of approximately 2 billion US dollars, which is 3 trillion kwacha from the US for the past 18 years, bringing the support on average of 110 million annually. So you can actually see just how dependent our countries are. But now, what do we do in light of these things? Man, we have to be innovative. I pray that even God helps us come up with ideas that shield us from these things. Imagine how many people will lose their jobs if these things become permanent. Imagine how hard the economy of Malawi will become because a huge chunk of it comes from the US aid. Imagine what will happen. So we really need to be keeping these things in prayer. Don't just laugh about it. Don't just look wise in commenting on them. Pray for your countries. Pray for your relatives who are actually on the verge of losing their jobs. And we pray that people come out good after this. But we need some lasting solutions. So we pray for innovation from our leaders. Otherwise, I would like to hear your thoughts in the comment section below. Like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. Until next time, have a good one.